The note trembled in Marcus Wilson's weathered hands, 5 simple words written in purple crayon that would change his life forever. Will you be my dad? He looked up from the folded paper to find a pair of hopeful brown eyes watching him from across the diner. The little girl couldn't have been more than 7, her dark curls framing a face that somehow reminded him of his own daughter, the one he hadn't seen in 3 years. This wasn't how Marcus expected his usual Thursday night dinner to go, alone in the corner booth of Rosie's diner with nothing but memories and regrets for company. If you've ever felt that life sometimes delivers its most profound moments in the most unexpected ways, this story will touch your heart. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more real-life stories that remind us of the connections that make us human. Marcus had been coming to Rosie's every Thursday for the past year, ever since the divorce was finalized and his ex-wife moved their daughter Lily across the country. The custody arrangement was clear, he got summer vacations and alternating holidays, but the distance and his demanding job as a construction foreman made even those limited visits difficult. The last time he'd tried to fly out, a major project deadline had forced him to cancel, and the disappointment in Lily's voice still haunted him. The diner had become his ritual, a place where he could sit in the same booth each week, order the same meatloaf special, and pretend that the emptiness inside him wasn't growing larger with each passing day. The waitresses knew him by name now, and they no longer asked if someone would be joining him. They just brought 2 waters out of habit, and Marcus never had the heart to tell them to stop. Her name is Sophia, a soft voice said, interrupting his thoughts. Marcus looked up to find a woman standing beside his table, her expression a mixture of embarrassment and something else, hope, perhaps. I'm Elena. I'm so sorry about my daughter. She's been watching you come in every week, and she has this idea that... The woman trailed off, clearly uncomfortable. Marcus glanced back at the little girl, who was now hiding her face behind a menu, only her eyes visible as she peeked over the top. It's okay, he said, though he wasn't sure if it was. Why would she? He held up the note, unable to finish the question. Elena slid into the booth across from him, uninvited but somehow not unwelcome. My husband died 2 years ago. Cancer. Sophia was 5, and she's been looking for a replacement ever since. She smiled sadly. Usually she's more subtle about it. I'm really sorry. The revelation hit Marcus like a physical blow. Here he was, mourning the partial loss of his daughter while this child had lost her father completely. Don't apologize, he said, his voice rougher than he intended. I have a daughter too. She lives with her mom in California now. I don't get to see her much. Something passed between them then, a recognition of shared pain that needed no further explanation. Elena nodded, and Marcus found himself nodding back, a silent acknowledgement of their respective struggles. Would you like to join me? The words left his mouth before he could consider them. Both of you, I mean. I always end up with too much food anyway. Elena hesitated, but Sophia had already scrambled out of her booth and was racing toward them, her face lit with excitement. Can we, Mom? Please. And that was how Marcus Wilson, who had eaten alone every Thursday night for a year, found himself sharing his booth with a chattering 7-year-old and her mother, who turned out to be a kindergarten teacher with a laugh that made the weight on his chest feel a little lighter. Sophia bombarded him with questions throughout dinner. What was his favorite color? Did he know how to build a treehouse? Could he fix the wobbly leg on her bedroom desk? Did he like chocolate ice cream or vanilla better? Each question seemed to be a test, though Marcus wasn't sure what passing would mean. Sophia, give Mr. Wilson a chance to eat, Elena finally intervened, looking apologetic again. It's Marcus, he corrected her. And it's fine. It's nice to have someone to talk to for a change. As the evening progressed, Marcus found himself sharing stories about Lily, how she'd been afraid of butterflies as a toddler, how she'd insisted on wearing mismatched socks every day in first grade, how she'd won the science fair with a project on rainbows. Talking about her didn't hurt as much as it usually did. Instead, it felt like keeping her present, like she was somehow part of this unexpected dinner. When the check came, Marcus insisted on paying. "Consider it a thank you," he said. "This is the best Thursday I've had in a long time." Elena studied him for a moment before nodding. "We come here every Thursday too. Sophia likes their mac and cheese." The implication hung in the air between them, an invitation neither was brave enough to voice directly. Finally, Marcus cleared his throat. "Maybe we'll see you next week, then." Sophia, who had been coloring on her placemat, looked up with a grin that revealed a missing front tooth. "Does that mean you're thinking about it?" "Thinking about what?" Marcus asked, confused. "Being my dad," she said, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. "Not my real dad, because he's in heaven. But like, my bonus dad." Elena's face flushed crimson. "Sophia. That's not, we don't ask people things like that." But Marcus wasn't offended. Instead, he felt something crack open inside him, something that had been sealed shut since the day he'd watched Lily wave goodbye from the departure gate. "That's a pretty big job," he said seriously to Sophia. "I think we'd need to get to know each other better first." Sophia considered this, her small face scrunched in concentration. "How many Thursdays would that take?" Marcus couldn't help but laugh. "I don't know. But I'm willing to find out if you are." And so began a new tradition. Every Thursday, Marcus would arrive at Rosie's to find Elena and Sophia waiting for him. Sometimes they'd talk about their weeks, Sophia's adventures at school, Elena's challenges with her students, Marcus's progress on his latest building project. Other times, they'd simply enjoy the comfort of shared silence, the kind that only comes when you're with people who understand your pain without needing to name it. As weeks turned into months, Marcus found himself looking forward to Thursdays with an eagerness that surprised him. He started calling Lily more regularly too, their conversations growing less awkward and more meaningful. When she asked why he seemed happier, he told her about Elena and Sophia, and was relieved when she sounded genuinely pleased for him. "Does this mean you're not lonely anymore, Dad?" Lily had asked during one of their calls. The question had caught him off guard. He hadn't realized how transparent his loneliness had been to his daughter, how much it might have weighed on her young shoulders. "I'm getting there," he'd answered honestly. "But I miss you every day." "I miss you too," she'd said. "But I'm glad you have friends now." Friends. The word didn't quite capture what Elena and Sophia had become to him, but it was close enough for now. 6 months after that first dinner, Marcus found himself helping Sophia build the birdhouse she'd been talking about for weeks. Elena watched from the kitchen window of their small house, a smile playing on her lips as Marcus patiently showed Sophia how to hammer a nail without hitting her thumb. "You're really good with her," Elena said later, after Sophia had gone to bed and they were sharing a cup of coffee on the porch. "She adores you." Marcus stared into his mug, gathering his courage. "I adore her too." "And you?" The words hung between them, honest and vulnerable. Elena reached for his hand, her fingers warm against his. "We adore you back." It wasn't a declaration of love, not yet, but it was a beginning, a promise of possibility that neither had dared to hope for before that fateful Thursday when a little girl's crayon note had brought them together. When summer came, Marcus took a week off work to fly to California and see Lily. This time, nothing would make him cancel. To his surprise, Elena suggested that she and Sophia come along. "Are you sure?" he'd asked, not wanting to intrude on his time with his daughter. "Lily's a part of your life," Elena had said simply. "We want to know her too." The reunion at the airport had been tearful but joyous. Lily, now 11 and growing so fast it made Marcus's heart ache, had thrown herself into his arms with a cry of "Dad" that echoed through the terminal. She'd been shy with Elena and Sophia at first, but by the end of the day, the girls were giggling together like old friends. On their third night in California, while the girls were building a blanket fort in the hotel room, Marcus's ex-wife pulled him aside. "She seems nice," she said, nodding toward Elena. "Sophia too." They are, Marcus agreed, waiting for the catch, the criticism that had characterized so much of their post-divorce interactions. But it didn't come. Instead, she smiled, genuinely smiled, for the first time in years. I'm happy for you, Marcus. Lily needs to see you happy. The week passed too quickly, filled with beach trips, amusement parks, and late-night ice cream runs. When it was time to say goodbye, Lily hugged Elena and Sophia as tightly as she hugged her father. You'll come back for Christmas, she asked, her eyes pleading. All of us, Marcus promised, looking to Elena for confirmation. She nodded, her eyes bright with unshed tears. As they boarded the plane home, Sophia tugged on Marcus's sleeve. I have a question, she said, her expression serious. What's that, kiddo? If you marry my mom someday, would that make Lily my sister? Marcus glanced at Elena, who was pretending to be very interested in the safety card from the seat pocket, though her cheeks had turned pink. I suppose it would, he answered carefully. Would you like that? Sophia nodded emphatically. I always wanted a sister. And a dad. She paused, considering. And you're a really good one, even if you're just practicing right now. Elena's hand found his across the armrest, squeezing gently. She's right, you know, she whispered. You are a good one. The plane took off, carrying them back to the life they were building together, a life that had begun with a simple crayon note and the courage of a little girl who wasn't afraid to ask for what her heart needed most. 1 year to the day after that first dinner at Rosie's, Marcus found himself back in the same booth, but this time he wasn't alone. Elena sat across from him, more beautiful than ever in a simple blue dress. Sophia and Lily sat side by side, whispering and giggling as they colored on their placemats. I have something for you, Marcus said to Elena, sliding a small box across the table. She opened it with trembling fingers to find not a ring, as she might have expected, but a key. What's this? It's to the new house, he explained. The one I've been building on Oak Street. It has 4 bedrooms, 1 for each of us, plus a guest room for when Lily visits. That is, if you want it. If you want us. Elena's eyes filled with tears. Are you asking what I think you're asking? Marcus took her hand. I'm asking if you and Sophia would consider making a home with me. I'm asking if we could be a family, not to replace what any of us have lost, but to create something new together. Before Elena could answer, Sophia piped up. Does this mean you're finally going to be my dad for real? Marcus looked at the little girl whose note had changed the course of his life. If that's still what you want, and if your mom says yes, then nothing would make me prouder. Elena's answer was in her kiss, witnessed by their daughters and the Thursday night regulars at Rosie's diner, who broke into spontaneous applause. Later that night, as they walked home under a canopy of stars, Sophia skipping ahead with Lily, who was visiting for the weekend, Elena leaned into Marcus's side. You know, when Sophia wrote that note, I was mortified. I thought you'd think we were crazy. Marcus laughed, wrapping his arm around her shoulders. Maybe a little. But sometimes the craziest moments lead us exactly where we need to be. As they watched their daughters race each other to the corner, their laughter floating back on the evening breeze, Marcus thought about all the Thursday nights he'd spent alone, drowning in silence and regret. He thought about how close he'd come to declining Sophia's innocent invitation that night, how easily he might have missed this chance at happiness. Sometimes life's most profound gifts come in unexpected packages, like a crayon note from a little girl brave enough to ask a stranger to be her dad. And sometimes, the family we need isn't the one we're born into or even the one we first create, but the one that finds us when we're lost and shows us the way home. For Marcus Wilson, who had once eaten alone every Thursday night with nothing but memories for company, home was now the sound of 2 girls laughing, the warmth of Elena's hand in his, and the promise of countless Thursdays stretching before them, together. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Remember that family isn't always defined by blood, but by love, choice, and sometimes, by the courage of a child's simple question written in purple crayon.